The new shelter is off of Rosecrans Street. It will be able to house up to 150 people experiencing homelessness. Amid San Diego's homeless crisis, the Rosecrans shelter will be a new option for people living and sleeping on the streets.
When Hollywood legend Tom Hanks walked into Hope Haven Shelter, no one could have anticipated the profound impact he was about to make. What started as an unannounced visit quickly turned into a life-changing day for the residents, staff, and volunteers. With no cameras or entourage, what he did next wasn't just a donation or a handshake. It was something so unexpected that it's changing how we think about solving homelessness. But what exactly happened during that life-altering day? Join us as we explore this incredible story of compassion, support, and transformation.
A little bit of a date night out for you guys.
Yes.
Date afternoon, yeah. We popped into the car. We're debating between Tommy's on Rampart or any In-N-Out burger.
Tom Hanks brings hope to Hope Haven Shelter. The morning of Tom Hanks's visit started like any other at Hope Haven Shelter. The sun peeked through the dusty windows, shedding light to the faces of families and individuals who found refuge there. Staff members buzzed around, preparing breakfast and organizing activities for the day, all while maintaining the cheerful atmosphere that the shelter was known for. As the clock ticked closer to the scheduled visit, everyone prepared themselves. Volunteers tidied up the common area, arranging colorful chairs for the children and ensuring the dining room was spotless. The smell of pancakes wafted through the air, mixing with the aroma of freshly brewed coffee, creating a warm and inviting atmosphere. Finally, just after noon, a buzz of excitement erupted as the shelter doors swung open, and there stood Tom Hanks, the American actor and filmmaker. Known for both his comedic and dramatic roles, one of the most popular and recognizable film stars worldwide, and is regarded as an American cultural icon. Hanks's films have grossed more than $4.9 billion nationally and $9.96 billion worldwide, making him the fourth highest-grossing American actor. And there he was, grinning like a kid in a candy store. He was dressed casually in a blue hoodie and jeans, a stark contrast to the flair and glamour often associated with Hollywood stars. With his signature smile, he stepped inside, instantly lighting up the room. The shelter erupted in applause and cheers, everyone momentarily forgetting their struggles. It was as if a ray of sunshine had pierced through their challenges, bringing hope and joy. Tom wasted no time getting involved. He began by mingling with the children who were brimming with excitement. "Who wants to take a picture with me?" he asked, and a flurry of small hands shot up in the air. The laughter and giggles echoed through the shelter as children posed with Tom, their faces lighting up with pure joy as Tom took his time in taking pictures with them, and also with the shelter staff. Mr. Hanks asked an elderly man named Mr. Jenkins, a longtime resident who often spent his afternoons in the shelter's common area, if he could join him in playing checkers. Jenkins's eyes sparkled with passion and couldn't believe his ears. He immediately agreed. The two settled down at a nearby table, and while the game progressed, they shared stories and laughter. Tom listened intently as Mr. Jenkins spoke about his life and the hardships he had faced, reminding him that everyone has a story worth telling. Meanwhile, the staff members watched in awe as Tom engaged with everyone around him. He joined them in serving food and drinks, pouring orange juice and handing out sandwiches. As the day continued, Tom learned more about the shelter's struggles. It's not spacious enough. There's never enough food, and they have a hard time finding transportation for the kids to get to school. He could see the weight of their struggles reflected in the faces around him. This was not just a photo opportunity for him, it was a chance to make a real difference. After a long afternoon filled with laughter, games, and meaningful conversations, Tom gathered the staff and residents together for a brief meeting. He explained how he has noticed some issues in the shelter and that he wanted to extend his help to them. With the shelter staff by his side, they brainstormed ideas. Tom proposed a plan to expand the shelter's facilities by purchasing a larger piece of land. If they can secure more space, they could accommodate more families and provide a better living environment for everyone. The room buzzed with excitement as residents imagined what a larger space could mean for their futures. Next, Tom turned his attention to the issue of transportation. He arranges for buses to help with childcare and school drop-offs, because he did want any child to miss school because of a lack of transportation. The residents exchanged hopeful glances, the prospect of more reliable transportation lifting their spirits. But Tom didn't stop there. He proposed adding smart lockers to help keep residents, because he believed everyone deserves to feel secure about their personal things. He also promised to install solar panels to provide the shelter with steady electricity, ensuring that families could live comfortably without worrying about rising energy costs. And to support the incredible staff, he provided an extra allowance for them. As he thought, they worked tirelessly for these families, and they deserved to feel supported too. The room erupted into cheers and applause. Hope Haven Shelter was not just a place to stay, it was a community, and now they had a champion in Tom Hanks who was ready to fight for them. The energy was infectious, and it felt like a weight had been lifted from everyone's shoulders. As the sun began to set, Tom took a moment to reflect. He realized that it wasn't just about the money or the resources, it was about the connections he made with the people at the shelter. Their stories, struggles, and laughter were what truly mattered. And soon the entire community was buzzing with excitement. People wanted to help, inspired by Tom's kindness and commitment to change. Donations started pouring in, and the shelter became a focal point of community support. Tom felt a deep sense of fulfillment. He had witnessed the transformation of Hope Haven Shelter not just as a physical space, but as a community where families could rebuild their lives. The changes made were a testament to the strength of human connection and the power of empathy. A legacy of compassion and philanthropy. While assisting the shelter didn't capture the public's attention, Tom Hanks has accomplished other notable actions that the media has recognized. Let's take a closer look. Tom Hanks has a way of connecting with people, and it shows in the way he supports veterans. He's not just known for his famous roles in movies like Saving Private Ryan that touch on military themes, but he also backs it up in real life by getting involved with causes that help veterans. It's one thing to act in a movie that portrays the challenges and bravery of soldiers, but it's something else entirely to go beyond the screen and actually take steps to support those who have served in real life. It shows a level of care and commitment that goes deeper than just being a public figure. It's about genuinely wanting to give back to the community of veterans and their families. He's shown this dedication in different ways, like working with organizations that really make a difference for people who served in the military. One of these is the Veterans of Foreign Wars, often known as the VFW. This group has been around for over a century, standing up for veterans and making sure their needs are not overlooked. The VFW helps with things like healthcare access, job training, and securing the benefits veterans have earned. When someone like Tom Hanks steps in to support such an organization, it doesn't just bring attention to the cause. It also adds a personal touch that encourages others to get involved, whether through donations, volunteering, or simply spreading the word about the issues that veterans face. Another group that Tom Hanks has supported is the USO, which does a lot to keep the spirits high for those who are serving. The USO is especially known for its entertainment tours, where performers go to military bases to bring a little piece of home to the troops, sometimes in far-off places where it's hard to feel connected to the everyday joys of life. When Tom Hanks lends his time and energy to the USO, he's doing more than just appearing on stage. He's reminding those who are serving that people back home haven't forgotten about them. He's there to show that their efforts are appreciated and that their sacrifices don't go unnoticed. What's special about his involvement with these organizations is that it goes beyond just a celebrity endorsement. Tom Hanks actually engages with the veterans and the troops, making sure they feel valued. It's not just about standing in front of a camera for a quick appearance. It's about taking the time to be present and show real support. This hands-on approach helps create moments that can lift someone's day or even change their outlook. For a veteran who might be struggling to find a sense of purpose after returning from service, seeing someone as famous and respected as Tom Hanks showing genuine support can be a powerful reminder that they matter. The way Tom Hanks gets involved in these veteran initiatives speaks to a broader idea of community and togetherness. He brings not only his fame but also a sense of humanity to these efforts. It's about recognizing that veterans are not just former soldiers, they're people with stories, experiences, and sometimes struggles that continue even after they've left the military. By supporting organizations like the VFW and USO, he's helping to create a network of care that addresses not just the practical needs of veterans, but also their emotional and social well-being. It's about making sure they feel seen, heard, and appreciated, not just as veterans, but as people who have contributed to something bigger than themselves. He's also known for his charitable spirit. Philanthropy is all about the act of giving, helping others, and supporting causes that aim to make the world a better place. It's not just about money, although donating money is often the first thing that comes to mind. When someone like Tom Hanks gets involved in philanthropy, it tends to make the headlines because of the significant amounts of money involved. But there's a deeper story there. It's not just about cutting checks. It's about believing in the cause and wanting to use fame and fortune to help. Tom has donated to places like the American Film Institute, which helps keep the history of movies alive and encourages new filmmakers. Then there's the St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, which offers free treatment to kids battling cancer and other serious diseases. His contributions help ensure that more children can receive life-saving care without their families worrying about how to pay for it. And there's also the American Red Cross, which responds to emergencies and disasters around the world, whether it's a hurricane, an earthquake, or a fire. When someone famous gets involved in these causes, it can inspire others to join in, making a ripple effect. It's not just about the person who gives, it's about how their giving can motivate others to do the same. People might see what Tom Hanks is doing and think, maybe I can help too, even if it's just a small donation or a few hours of my time. It's about building a sense of community where everyone pitches in however they can, which adds up to something big. In the end, philanthropy can be seen as an ongoing story, a story that grows and evolves as more people become a part of it. Each act of kindness, whether it's on a big scale like millions donated or a smaller scale like volunteering at a local shelter, adds to the larger narrative of people helping each other. The world is full of problems, but it's also full of people who care enough to try and solve them. In the wake of a major disaster, there's often a need for money to support rescue operations, medical assistance, and the rebuilding of shattered communities. When someone well-known, like Tom, decides to help out during tough times like after Hurricane Katrina and Hurricane Harvey, showing support for the people affected by these devastating storms, those hurricanes left a trail of wreckage, with families losing their homes and lives turned upside down. By donating to relief funds, he helped provide some of the essentials needed to help people get back on their feet, even if it took a long time to recover fully. When famous figures like Tom Hanks get involved in helping with disaster relief, it tends to catch people's attention. It's more than just making a big donation. It's about using their voice and resources to draw awareness to the cause. Disaster relief is all about stepping in to help people when things go terribly wrong, especially after nature unleashes its fury. When a hurricane, earthquake, wildfire, or any other calamity hits, it can cause a lot of destruction, leaving people in dire need of help. Homes can be flooded, buildings destroyed, and communities left without power, food, or clean water. In moments like these, time is of the essence, and quick action can mean the difference between life and death. That's why disaster relief efforts focus on getting help to the affected areas as fast as possible, offering everything from rescue teams to medical supplies and shelter. The thing about disaster relief is that it often starts with the basics, things like clean water, food, medical care, and a safe place for people to stay. When a storm sweeps through a city or a wildfire blazes across the land, these basic needs can suddenly become scarce. Relief efforts aim to fill in the gaps quickly, sending supplies and aid workers to the most affected areas. There are doctors, nurses, and volunteers who rush to the scene, setting up temporary clinics or shelters and doing whatever they can to support those in need. Every effort counts, whether it's someone handing out bottled water or a team pulling people from the rubble. When people like Tom Hanks lend their support to these efforts, it adds a bit of hope and can help keep the momentum going long after the news cameras leave. Funds donated in the aftermath of a disaster often go toward rebuilding schools, repairing hospitals, and supporting local businesses that were damaged or destroyed. Even years later, the scars left by these disasters can still be seen, and the support from relief efforts continues to be needed. In many ways, it's not just about the money given or the supplies sent. It's about the spirit of coming together during the worst times. It's a reminder that even though the world can be unpredictable and harsh, there is also a capacity for people to show kindness and support to complete strangers. When people like Tom Hanks lend their support to these efforts, it adds a bit of hope and can help keep the momentum going long after the news cameras leave. Another instance was when the COVID-19 pandemic swept across the world. Everything seemed to change almost overnight. Life as people knew it was turned upside down. Suddenly, there were lockdowns, schools and businesses closed, and everyone was talking about masks, hand sanitizer, and social distancing. The virus spread quickly, and at first, no one really knew how to deal with it. Hospitals were filled to the brim, doctors and nurses were working around the clock, and everywhere you looked, people were trying to figure out how to stay safe. The situation wasn't just about health, either. It was about everyday life and the sense of normalcy that suddenly felt so distant. Relief efforts took on new forms, and there was a global push to not only fight the virus itself, but also to help those who were struggling because of it. When Tom Hanks and his wife, Rita Wilson, shared that they had been diagnosed with COVID-19, it was early on, when the pandemic was still unfolding and there were more questions than answers. Their announcement wasn't just another celebrity news story. It was a big moment because they were among the first public figures to openly talk about their experience. They used their situation to raise awareness about the virus and what people needed to do to protect themselves and others. They talked about symptoms, precautions, and the importance of following guidelines to slow the spread. It made people pay attention because if someone as well known as Tom Hanks could get sick, it really drove home the message that anyone could be at risk. Their openness went beyond just talking about their own health. They used their platform to shine a light on the people working tirelessly on the front lines, healthcare workers who were putting themselves at risk every day to take care of others. Hospitals were facing shortages of protective gear and medical supplies, and there was a surge of support for doctors and nurses who were not only exhausted, but also facing the strain of dealing with something so new and so dangerous. Tom and Rita showed their support for these workers in different ways, encouraging others to donate to organizations that provided meals, protective equipment, or financial aid to healthcare professionals and essential workers who kept things going during such a challenging time. The relief efforts surrounding COVID-19 weren't just about one thing. They covered many areas because the impact of the pandemic was so wide-ranging. There were people who couldn't go to work, families who struggled to put food on the table, and communities that had to adjust to new ways of doing just about everything. Schools had to find ways to teach kids who were stuck at home, and local businesses had to figure out how to keep going with their doors closed. Relief came in the form of food banks, financial support, and even mental health services for those dealing with anxiety or loss. The whole situation called for everyone to look out for each other in ways they hadn't really needed to before. Even as some parts of the world started to recover, the efforts didn't just end. Vaccination drives became a big focus, with people working to get shots to as many folks as possible. It wasn't easy. There were a lot of challenges, from distribution issues to hesitancy, but it was a crucial step in trying to bring things back to some kind of normal. Those who used their influence to encourage others to get vaccinated, continue wearing masks, and follow safety guidelines played a part in helping communities move forward. Whether it was through donations, sharing information, or just reaching out to someone in need, the response to COVID-19 showed that even in the face of something frightening and uncertain, there was a way to come together and find strength. Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson's actions showed how much of a difference it can make when people use their voice and influence for good, especially in times when the world feels more divided and uncertain than ever. What are your thoughts on Tom Hanks's visit to Hope Haven Shelter and his genuine compassion and commitment to helping others? If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe for more content. Also, check out the next video on your screen.